Hey guys, we're on the 50-mile march to Smith and Wesson right now. We're in the middle of Massachusetts and basically the middle of nowhere. So right now I'm gonna go and interview Manuel Oliver from Change the Ref. Tio Manny, we're live right now on Twitter.
Oh, why do I march? I'm not stopping marching. This is what I do. This is what me and Patricia do since February 14th, and we're not going to stop doing it. Why are you not marching? That is the question. Anybody that is watching us through Twitter, you have to get up and march. You have to join the kids. We have to support them. We have to protect the kids.
Because it's Joaquin's birthday and he's like you, I want to share the nice memories about 50 miles more. It's a positive and good memory to dedicate to Joaquin. David invited us to go to be part of the 50 miles more. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what happened before that.
Well, Felix, that'll be you.
Okay. I mean, the origin's pretty easy. There was a bunch of friends at school that were organizing walkouts and actions at the State House with gun reform, and we wanted to sort of try and push our activism through a different path. And that's what pushed us to focus on Smith & Wesson and their practices.
We're marching to Smith & Wesson to demand two things. One is that they donate $5 million annually to gun violence prevention research and hold some accountability for what they do, and also to demand that they stop manufacturing guns that are already illegal in the state, but not illegal in other states, such as the M&P 15 and the AR-15 style weapons that are already illegal here in Massachusetts.
Overall, we went through 10 cities and we marched 50 miles, which is amazing. And we had all of those different police escorts, 10 different police escorts, take us through those cities. And I'd love to hear, what was your guys' experience coming in?
So for me, I had just started going to March for Our Lives public meetings, and I met Vickiana and I heard about the march and I was like, okay, yeah, so that seems right up my alley.
Vickiana, why do you march?
I march because it's time to hold Smith & Wesson accountable. This is our chance to get gun manufacturers on the side of gun violence prevention, This is their chance to stand up against the NRA and make a really good difference and change some lives.
I think coming in, I really didn't know what to expect, because obviously the idea of a march like this, especially one of this length, is so just out of the ordinary and is nothing like anything I had ever done before. And so I didn't really know going into it what the situation would be. I remember my parents kept asking all these questions about where we would be staying and what we would be doing and all these things, and I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna figure it out too.
I definitely sort of had some of those same feelings, after spending months and months and months organizing. It was just sort of I've never actually been to any of these places, and I wonder what this is actually going to be like. You spent so much time agonizing over every single detail except the ones that sort of were right in front of you at that. And when we started, it was just oh, what are we going to eat? I know that I budgeted for this, but what are we actually going to eat? And so it was sort of just a funny experience through and through.
I'm curious about, how did you pick the places, where we are spending nights, like the church, the other school, that were so, unique.
Basically, when we first started, we thought lodging was going to be the most important thing. And we just started cold calling churches. The fourth or fifth church that I actually called was the first church that we stayed at, and the one that picked up the phone was super nice. She was like, oh my God, my daughter would love this. We'd love to have you. I'm not sure how much room we have, but we'll make it work no matter what. It was just the kindness of strangers who you called and tried to explain this crazy story to, and that's the way it went.
Does anybody want to talk about their favorite mile or moment on the march?
I would say my favorite memory was waking up sore after an 18-mile day, doing a 23-mile day, and then giving people piggyback rides up and down the stairs. I think that was peak caffeine beans in my life.
Every night, every day was different. So we were walking all the way. We were just wondering if we're gonna see protesters or not.
I remember the guy who was running against Elizabeth Warren. His bus was parked on the other side of like the highway that we were walking past.
Mhm.
It was like, can like a real Indian beat a fake Indian?
I remember we were walking the final mile, and he had like a bunch of people with their like they had a bunch of like brochures, and they were literally like forcing them at us, like shoving them in our hands.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, okay. I would say one of my, this probably wasn't the most fun memory, but it was just kind of crazy, was I remember Vickiana and I took the SAT. I remember I woke up at like 5 a.m. and I went to take these subject tests. I think I bombed them. I think I did really bad, but I literally like finished as soon as I could because I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I got back in the car and I like, we tried to find you guys and like rejoin. And once I saw everybody on the street, I like ran out of the car and I was like, I'm back. But yeah, it was just so like the craziest thing. It makes for a good story too. Telling people you took your SATs during the middle of a march.
Peace is possible! Peace is possible! Say what?
Yeah, I remember it was just so nice, like whenever we would reach a stop, like there would already be so many people with everything all laid out who were like there waiting for us. And you just,
That wasn't very much.
they could literally come to you and be like, okay, like what do you need? What do you want? And it was just like so well organized. It's so supportive.
There were two like moments that I remembered. One was just funny, waking up the first morning to a bat in the church. And the second one more meaningful. I can't remember which night it was, but we were taking a break and everyone was super exhausted, and someone just, I don't remember who, came up with the idea to walk the rest of that day's worth just in silence.
That was when we were in Wilbraham.
Yeah. Weren't there like counter protesters there or something?
Yeah, there were
It's
counter
very awesome.
protesters there looking for us, and I think it was the police that were just like, "You guys have to stop now." And we were like,
Yeah.
"We're not stopping." No, like they're like, "Well, you can't be making noise. You have to be that." We're like, "Okay, we'll do it silently. Like that's not a problem."
Yeah.
Remember Jack made this speech where he was like, you know what, like everyone else can go, but I am not gonna stop walking. And I was like, whoa, like it was just very inspirational.
I'm marching because I feel morally responsible for the deaths that guns created in my state, caused in other states. This is why we're demanding that they stop the manufacturing of all weapons banned in our state. We don't think it's okay that if we don't think something's safe enough for us, why should we ship it out to different states? So that's why I'm here today.
Amazing.
Well, remember that I had my situation with my food. I say, well, I came here to walk. I don't care. Because they were offering me, okay, do you really don't want to be in the car for a little while? I say, no, I could be home, relax, watching TV maybe, but that's not the point that I'm here. So I'm here to walk, to accomplish what we have to accomplish. You know, every time that I was, okay, like, should I keep walking? And I say to Joaquin, well, you brought me here. We need to finish this. So there's no other way. So you help me out to be able to, to wear my sneakers again and go out and keep walking.
As you know, we are still parents of Joaquin. I am marching with Joaquin's shoes. So Joaquin is also marching in a way. It's been great. It's been really a great experience. I love
we've been seeing a lot of support from people, driving around.
Yes.
That's very, very important, yes.
When we got finally at the end of the walk, and that was the most amazing experience. We were at the park trying to organize the walk again to go there to the Smith and Wesson, and that the feeling, the goosebumps were amazing. For me, it's unforgettable.
Can I get a chant for y'all? Can I get a good big whoop for y'all?
To see you're accomplishing that emotion, the adrenaline that you were just bleeding everywhere. That was awesome. I love that from you guys.
Yeah, that final mile with thousands of people joining us was pretty great.
That was beautiful. And then at the end, I remember those emotions were great.
Very high emotions.
And the speech there was awesome.
Behind us right now is the headquarters of Wesson. It's the second time we're here. And we were thinking, in this headquarters, there's a lot of mothers working. And we were thinking that some of these mothers that work here had contact, direct contact, with the weapon that killed our son. They were putting pieces together to develop this, quoting my son Joaquin, killing machine that is not allowed here, but it is allowed in Florida. That weapon that you helped developing murdered my son and another 16 persons. And every single day, a mother that works in here is involved in the manufacture of these weapons. Now, the worst part of this story that I'm telling you right now is that their kids are also in risk. Thank God for us to be here so we can save your kids and their kids. Because I'm going to tell you something. We cannot, me and Patricia, save our kid. Because it's too late for that. But we decided that we are going to save other kids.
I have one more final question that I'm very curious about of all of you students. How has this experience changed you as an advocate, and what sort of like lessons do you think you learned from it that you are still using?
I just really learned that, man, our generation just really gets powerful each and every century. The power of what we can do is just limitless. Like, just even addressing what happened with 50 Miles and all of the other things that have happened, especially within the past decade, it's clear that, you know, things won't end up the same as they normally do.
I think for me, one of the main lessons that I took away was like, I don't think, like, obviously I had like been to protests and marches before 50 Miles More, but I think what made it really different was like the structure of it, like being like so many different days and nights and doing a very difficult thing with people, like created a level of bond and support and like camaraderie that I had never experienced before. I learned that that is such an asset, and it's so important to make really meaningful, like loving connections with the people you're like fighting for causes with, because like not only did it make us like more effective in that like we could support each other when people were having a hard time. It just fuels you so much more to keep going when you don't think you can walk any further, but you know you're alongside so many people that love you and support you and want you to keep going. I truly realized the value of that from the march, that now I try to like emulate in like the organizing and the work that I do now, is like really creating meaningful connections with people.
I guess the biggest takeaway, I mean, there are so many, but the biggest one was just you can accomplish anything with some good friends and some hard work. And at so many points while planning and even while marching, what we were doing felt impossible. But just because there were so many of us there, all focused on the same goal, we're able to get it done.
It was so nice to see everybody.
Happy birthday to Joaquin.
Happy birthday, Joaquin.
Yeah.
Sending lots of love.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Joaquin. Thank you so much. He's listening to us. He will be enjoying seeing that, you know, people is caring about, you know, realities that we're living, and, you know, that we are acting and reacting about what's going on today.
Yep.
After 2 years.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Patricia.
No, thank you, Felix. Thank you, everybody.
Nice seeing everyone.